Whether it's building cars, producing steel, or curing disease, we want the next generation of innovation and production to happen right here in America and right here in Wisconsin, right? First, on taxes. This is where we really need Paul. We're going to undertake one of the great tax reforms and simplifications in American history. This includes a massive tax cut for the middle class and middle-class families from Wisconsin, too. We're also going to lower our business tax rate so that new companies will come to our shores and hire workers in cities like right here. Is that okay? That's what we want. We're going to bring our rates down from 35%. We're going to try and get it down to 15%. So right now, and by the way, the jobs will pour in. So right now, we're the highest taxed nation in the world. And when we finish, we'll be one of the lower tax. One of the lower. On regulations, which is perhaps even more important because our companies are dying and being strangled through regulation, we're going to eliminate all wasteful, job-killing regulations. On energy, we will cancel the restrictions on the production of American energy, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful coal. We're going to put our miners back to work. On infrastructure, I will ask Congress to pass legislation that produces $1 trillion of new investment in America's crumbling infrastructure. And it is crumbling. You know, I have a friend, big guy, one of the biggest in the world, trucking. And he used to buy these beautiful trucks, beautiful, beautiful, the most expensive. And he calls me up recently. He said, I can't buy them anymore. Because we go from California to New York, and by the time they get to New York or California, if they're going the other way, they're all beat to hell because of the potholes in the highways. I said, was it ever like this? He's been doing this for 45 years. He said, it's never been like this. So we have to fix our infrastructure. We have no choice. And we're going to put our people back to work in the process. It's time to help get Americans off of welfare and back into the labor market. Rebuilding this country with American hands and with American workers. My administration will follow two simple rules. Buy American and hire American, right? We're going to do it. Because from now on, it's going to be America first. America first. I look at some of these deals we make and some of the treaties and some of everything, and I say, I think these people were thinking about the other nations. I honestly do. I say it's impossible for this to happen. Either that or campaign contributions were magnificent with people. But they're so bad, the deals are so bad, so disgraceful, that I actually think they're putting other countries ahead of our own. On trade, we are now... You people don't stop. So I used to say, when I used to hear this chant, let's just win on November 8th. But now we've won, right? We've won. Big league. So anyway, you people, I'll tell you, tough people in Wisconsin, fellas. Right, Governor, tough? On trade, we're now running a nearly $800 billion annual trade deficit. I say, who makes these deals? Who? Now think of it. I have friends in here that are business people. Who makes these deals? $800 billion. America has lost 1/3 of our manufacturing jobs since NAFTA. We've lost 70,000 factories Think of it, 70,000. It's like, doesn't even sound like it's possible. And I know it's right because I've said it for the last month and a half, and they never corrected me, so it has to be. Because I mean, it is, look, it is hard to believe. Look, they're very nice. Look at all those cameras. Look at all that live television. Look at that. Who has to do this every night with all those live cameras up? Can you imagine if we made a mistake? Would it be a disaster? See, other people running for office, if they make a mistake. But if I made a mistake, a disaster, right? Look at that. You ever see so many cameras, Mr. Vice President? So, but I have to tell you, they were devastated on November 8th. They were devastated. They were devastated. Should I go over that evening just once quickly? So, it began with phony exit polls. And I got a call from my daughter at about 5 o'clock, and she was called by people in their business. And her husband, Jared, great guy, he was called. And they called me and they said, "I'm sorry, Dad, it looks really bad. Looks really, really bad." I said, "What's the problem? Tell me." Now, it's very interesting, because I really assumed I lost. You know, look, I believe that these things are supposed to be correct. So I sort of thought I lost, and I was okay with it. I wouldn't say great. In fact, I called my vice president, and I said, "It's not looking good, right, Mike?" I said, "Not looking good. You were getting the same numbers that I was getting." Of course, you know, a lot of it is phony stuff, too, because they'll say, "Donald Trump is a bad person. Do you agree or not?" So people would say, "Yeah." No, but it's easier. Then they have yes in a big box like that, and they have no, you can't find. So, you know, a lot of it's phony deals going on. But I will tell you, so I got the call, and they said, "Looks bad. Looks really bad." And they want to be nice to me. They're talking this way because they wanted to be nice. They actually thought we might lose strongly. So I said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Whatever happens, happens." Now, for the last month, I didn't do interviews. All I did was these rallies. I did 3 a day. And I'll be honest, I was surprised when I got that call, because I thought, I mean, every time we had a rally, it was, look at this building, they're still pouring in the back. So every place was like this. I mean, except we had major arenas which were packed. And then we'd have 20, 30,000 people outside. They couldn't get in. So I said, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense, but that's okay. Because, you know, like they say in football and in sports, he left nothing on the table, nothing on the field, all right? So it was okay. Because for the last month, I decided not to do interviews, because they give you interviews and they chop up your sentences and they cut them short. You'll have this beautiful flowing sentence where the back of the sentence reverts to the front, and they'd cut the back of the sentence off, and I'd say, "I never said that." So I said, "You know what? I'm not going to deal. They're very dishonest people." I said, "No." I said, "I'm not going to deal with it." And all I did for 1 month, I do 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 speeches a day, rallies like this, massive crowds, right? And they'd call, "Can we have an interview of Mr. Trump?" I said, "Watch me with the speech. Tell him, watch me. And whatever you want to take, you can take, all right? But watch me with the speech." So we did 3, 4 days. And I'll tell you what, that's tough stuff. So I did 3 a day, a couple of 4s. And I always had in mind the last 2 days and even the last 3. But on the last 3, or the third, I was going to do 5. And then I was going to do 6 and 6. Now, when you do 6 speeches where you have 10, 15, 20, 25, even 30,000 people, that's not so easy, okay? good stamina, high energy. Do you agree? High energy. High energy. So I did the 3 a day and a lot of speeches. No days off. There was no Sunday off. Although I did go to church whenever possible. I did go to church. But no days off. And then we got down to the last 2, and I did 6 speeches. They know. These guys knew. They were exhausted, the press. And then on the 7th day, which was, you remember, Monday, right? I did 6 speeches. And then I heard that my opponent, does anybody remember my opponent? No? They don't remember. They don't remember. Governor, these people are brutal. Now I know why it's always a bloodbath for you guys, but you win, so that's all. But I heard, so I did 6, right? 6 on Sunday. And then Monday comes along and I did 6. And about 3 hours before the final speech, I'm saying, oh boy, I don't have to, this is it. And this was it. Started 16 months before, coming down the escalator, right? Said a lot of things. We talked about illegal immigration, turned out to be right. We talked about trade, turned out to be right. I said a lot of things. But we did 6 speeches, and then I heard that Hillary was going with her husband and with President Obama, who, by the way, has been very nice, and his wife has been very, very nice. Telling you. They've been very nice, but they were on a plane going to Michigan. And I said, whoa, whoa, and that was not a planned trip. And, you know, they spent $2 billion, so you don't get credit for this. I spent a tiny fraction of what they spent. In the old days, if you spent less money and won, you got credit for it. Nowadays, whoever spends the most money, it doesn't make sense. But we spent a lot less money. We spent a fraction of what they spent. And they had unlimited money, so that meant to me they did a poll. We didn't, because why should I spend a lot of money for a poll, right? When the newspapers give you polls every single day, right? These pollsters. So they spent a lot of money. They found out, obviously, trouble in Michigan because they had an unscheduled trip to Michigan. So they went to Michigan, did not have a good crowd. And I said at 6 o'clock that afternoon, I said, let's go to Michigan. Now, by the time I finished in New Hampshire, it was already like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I said, let's go to Michigan. And my people said, are you crazy? You just did 6 major... I said, I don't care. This is the presidency, right? This is the presidency. So we went to Michigan with no notice, with like a tweet. We went up. Now, I do have between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram almost 40 million people, so that's a lot. It's a lot. But with a tweet. So we get there, and it's very late. It's like 12:30. And our vice president-elect was there with me. And we had, at 12:30 in the morning, and I started speaking at 1 o'clock in the morning, we had in Michigan 31,000 people inside and outside. 31,000 showed up. And I said to Mike and I said to everybody, we're going to win Michigan. I'll tell you. Now, it hadn't been won in like 38 years, but we are going to win Michigan. And we ended up winning Michigan. But anyway, so I got the bad news from my daughter. And I said, that's too bad. So I go and see my wife. I said, baby, I'll tell you what. We're not going to win tonight because the polls have come out. And, you know, I always used to believe in those exit polls. I don't believe in them anymore. And it's just looking bad. But you know what? I'm okay with it because of the fact that I couldn't have worked any harder. You can't do any worse than that. I mean, I just couldn't have done it. And if I lose, I lose. And you know what? If I lose, I lose, and I'm going to have a nice, easy life. We can all relax together, right? But, so, you know, I felt, you know, you don't feel good if you didn't put out and you lose. But if you put out every single ounce of energy in your blood, you feel like, okay, there's nothing more you can do. So I told her, and she looked at me, and she's seen these rallies, and she said, you're not going to lose. I said, no, I'm telling you, the polls are looking very big. She goes, you're not going to lose, my wife. So then I figured, hey, look, it's just a nice wife that's trying to be nice. And that's what she is. She is a great person. So what happened? Melania, right? Do we love Melania? Boom, the escalator. They love Melania. She's great. She said, you're not going to lose. Okay. So now the polls just closed, and they start announcing numbers. And I say, oh, this is going to be embarrassing. I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do. And I have this ballroom that's not that big because I didn't know if I'm going to win or lose. I know this. If I'm going to lose, I don't want a big ballroom. I'd go up, I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot, my supporters. I love you, folks. I love you. Good night, everybody. Bye. I'm out of there, right? And she had this massive convention center with a big fireworks display. And they were paying about $7 million for the fireworks. And it was a big deal. And they knew they were going to win until the final week. They knew bad things were happening. And I got a good sign when 4 days before the end, I called up Mike. They just canceled the fireworks. It was a front page story. They canceled. Now, usually you cancel fireworks because you don't want fireworks if you're going to lose, right? Did anybody ever use fireworks if they're going to lose? Governor, in the history of elections, if you lose, you don't set off fireworks, right? So they canceled their beautiful Grucci fireworks. And I wanted to be a wise guy, so I offered them 5 cents on the dollar for their fireworks, okay? I did. We never heard back. No, we never heard back. We never heard back. So anyway, but that was a good sign. Do you agree? So anyway. So I figured it's election night. I figured we're going to lose. But, you know, hey, this is so sort of cool. I never did this stuff before. Hey, by the way, did we all do a good job together, right? It's a movement. It's a movement. So then the real numbers started coming. And we started with, like, Ohio. And I was expected to win Ohio by 2 points or 3 points. When I say I'm talking about the two of us and us, all of us. So it comes in. We have breaking news. Donald Trump has won Ohio in a massive number. Right? We won Ohio very close to 10%. So the 2% or 3% was now close to 10%. I said, that's good. Then we have breaking news. Donald Trump has won the great state of Iowa. I said, whoa. And that was supposed to be close. We were up a little bit in the polls, like 1 point. We won it by more than 10 points, right? And I'm saying, this is a little different than these exit polls. What's going on? Because the exit polls had me tied in Ohio. Then they were getting a little bit like, they were surprised by the numbers, right? You know, these people that are standing back there. 3 of them I see. 3 of them. I see 3 of them, and 4 of them I think are hiding in the back. They're in the... So then they go to Florida. And they're doing pretty well in Florida. Unfortunately, they forgot to count our votes. So all of a sudden they get to areas that we just dominated. And we're sort of tied. And we haven't gotten to the panhandle yet. She loves the I love the panhandle, too. And they told one of the networks they were interviewing, yes, we feel very good about Florida. Florida is going to be ours. And North Carolina will be ours. That's the firewall, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. Right? Now, they